to render. So it takes about half an hour to render and upload. If I do it from campus, it's significantly faster than if I do it at home. We have 180 megabits per second, I think, here, upload speeds. So if you're streaming crap, it's a good place to stream crap. There's my speed test. I don't know what my speed test is. Anyway, but we've got super fast internet here. And so if I can get this started when I'm sitting in my office, it'll upload before the next class is over. So it all depends on how much time I have between classes. Anyway, so let's go back and just look at this real quick. What is psychology? Study the mind, right? What is the mind? Aha. So what is the mind? I sent a video home to watch, right? Did I send that to this class? 2 people are nodding. Excellent. So check your email. You're saying you're nodding, you're shaking your head. So look in the announcements. If I go to Canvas, whatever email, I didn't mean check your email like condescending, like check your email. That would be snarky. What I mean is that sometimes the email, whatever you use to register, is the email it gets sent to. So, and it could be in your spam filter. So I'm saying this, I'm going to check to make sure I sent it just to make sure. Announcements, yes. Okay, so here's a video. So I basically said, hey, watch this video relate to the terms. Okay, and these terms are, these are vocabulary from the first chapter of the test. Chapter of the test, sorry. They're on the test, but they're on the first chapter of the book. And what this is all of these terms are found in this video. So I'm taking the book and relating it to the video content. Okay? So if you didn't have a chance to watch it, we're going to do a little experiment using the same experiment today so you get a kind of recap on it. If you watched it and you related it to the terms, it makes so much more sense in class today. So check your email or check announcements. Just log into Canvas, and every Thursday or Friday morning, I will send this out. I can't remember what day I actually sent this out. I think I may have forgotten to do it Saturday. Sorry about that. At 7 a.m. I realized, oh crap, and then I sent it out. Sorry. Okay. Because on Friday it gets busy. I hate the weekends sometimes because there's so much crap to do on the weekends. I get here to school, I'm like, I know what to do all week. And the Saturday, it's like, okay, the car needs an oil change. I just bought a new axle for the van. I have to see if I can install it. Do I have to have someone install it? That's Saturday. And I have to go to DMV to make an appointment for my daughter because I can't get through the damn phone. Damn DMV. Sorry. Because guess when the DMV hours are? During school when I'm working. You try to call in the afternoon, and Friday, your wait time is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Cool. Plugged it in. My phone sitting in the kitchen getting dinner ready. An hour later, your wait time is 1 hour and 37 minutes. So I said bad words to my phone. Okay. Referring to the DMV. All right. So what is psychology? Study the mind. What is the mind? Come on. Yeah. Okay, but that's a part of it. Behaviors and mental processes, that's how we study psychology. That's a part of it. Thoughts are mental processes, right? Right? So, cheese sandwiches. I love cheese sandwiches. What the hell does that have to do with the mind? I do think about cheese sandwiches often, but that's not important. That's your nice Stilton? Okay, moving on. So, but what does the cheese sandwich have to do with studying the mind? What thoughts? No, it is something to do with the kid thinking. Something to do with the kid thinking, yeah. Yeah, there's the word. Perspective. Your mind is your perspective. We study the mind by studying your perspective. When you change your mind, what do you change? Could someone use a different word for perspective? Point of view. That's a great way of saying perspective. So I'm going to change that color on that because I really like that. I call this color hot dog. Marbly pink. Processed meat. Okay, so your perspective is your point of view. Can you see something from somebody else's point of view? Yeah. You don't have to agree with them, but you can see something from someone else's perspective. So what's crazy about this is that you have this thing called a mind. What your mind does is creates perspective. Why are little kids so fun to study? They have unique perspectives. Their perspective is shaped by their experience. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But their behavior is shaped by their experience. So when you look at their behavior, what is it a reflection of? That one experience that they've had. Really cool. So where did psychology start? I'm going to write one word up here to help you remember. Where did psychology start? What the hell does it mean? Ideas and thoughts that someone had before. They've died, but what happens to the ideas and thoughts? And they evolve. Thoughts have life in human minds. Craziness, man. It's kind of weird to think about, but someone else's thoughts, it influences you. I will say something stupid this semester, and you'll go, I get it! And then your life will be completely changed, and I have no idea I said anything meaningful or profound. Years ago, I had a wonderful student in my Ramona High School class. Back when I was teaching high school, a little bit less experienced what I was doing, and sometimes they said stupid things that hurt people, but sometimes they said stupid things that have benefited people. I had a really great student. First day of class, she's full-on hippie chick, you know, like tie-dye, long, flowy dress, flowers in her hair. In Ramona, that doesn't fly so well. Big trucks, burning stuff. That flies well in Ramona. So being a hippie chick in a conservative town, it's hard. And so she's sitting in class, being her little flower child self. As a freshman in high school, do you try to define yourself? Yeah, and how do you define yourself, sadly? Other people's opinions. So she's stressed out being her little hippie chick self because there's not a lot of hippie chicks on Ramona's campus. So I call the name, and her name's Rebecca something, I don't remember her last name, and she goes, my friends call me Becky. And I'm like, you're way too classy to be a Becky. I'm going to call you Rebecca. Just smart. I always make fun of your names when I first call. I didn't even think about it twice. She came back about my sophomore year teaching here, so my second year teaching here, 4 years after she had graduated. She goes, I wanted to thank you for validating me. I'm like, he didn't say violate, so I'm okay. But what do you mean? She goes, well, you gave me respect for being who I was, and that really changed the way I thought about myself the whole rest of the year. Wow, I meant to do that. Well, it turns out that me giving her respect that freshman year, other kids in the class who didn't know her, how did they refer to her? Rebecca. And that helped define who she was. And she was still a hippie chick when she bopped around on our campus. And it was great. And it's great because this idea that one little idea can change your whole perspective. As soon as you start changing your perspective, what happens to the way you act, your behaviors, and your mental processes? They change. So I told this morning, every day I listen to the radio and I read stupid science podcasts because I like that stuff. And every time I hear something that they're talking about psychology, or I hear something that they're talking about other science stuff related to biology and psych, I go, oh, that makes more sense. And so every year I learn more stuff, which changes my perspective on taking psych. So when you took my class, what, 2 years ago? I had slightly different perspectives than I do now. And it's interesting because why can't you study the mind? Always changing. So that's why we do these experiments with age, to see how kids' minds change across age. We'll get back there in a minute. So we talk about this idea of philosophy. Psychology was philosophy until when? Well, believe it or not, the old guys did call it psychology. It's the study of the mind, but they believed that the mind was some sort of ethereal thing that lived in your soul. Whatever. Good science. Until this. The study of psychophysics. Remember that? Psychophysics is the study of the mind mechanics, how the mind works. Sensation, perception, reaction time. Those are the psychophysics. That's what philosophy became a science. However, but psychophysics isn't studying philosophy. Psychophysics is studying the structure of the mind, which I'll write up here in a little bit. Sound familiar, hopefully? Good. So 2 people nodding, that's fine. Okay, so modern psychology. Why do we study psych? What do most psychologists do? Help people. Most psychologists control behavior. They help people. In order to control behavior, what do you have to do? Yeah. Which means predict and explain and describe. You have to understand behavior before you can control behavior. On the back of my Psychology Club t-shirt, there is a quote that says, "Nature can be commanded, must be obeyed." Let's say you want to make your car go fast. I'll use my van as an example. My van doesn't go fast. But there's a guy with this big Camaro getting onto the freeway yesterday, coming up the Waring on-ramp, going 8 east. Everybody know that on-ramp? Yeah, so if you ever want to do burnouts in your car, highly recommend that ramp. It's a long, slow uphill straight onto the freeway. You can light it up and just, the BMW, we slid all the way up there. Traction control off, all the way up there. So this guy in the Camaro kind of goes, and his car's scooting up. So I turn the traction control off the van, spin the wheels, and I have the wheels spinning all the way, it's wet, all the way up to the top and like onto the freeway. The car's shimmying around because the Camaro's like, look at me. So I'm like, minivan. my son and I are just laughing, just keeping it right at the rev limiter, just even got a shift. Okay, but, and it's so stupid, but, because if you got the Camaro, you got to do it to be tough. If you got the van, you do it because you're a dork. Moving on. Okay, so, but in order to understand how your car works, what do you have to understand? The mechanics of how your car works. If you're trying to do burnouts with a front-wheel drive, you have to drive differently than if you're doing burnouts with a rear-wheel drive. Okay, there's mechanics, there's physics. But once you understand the physics, can you drive like a moron? Yay! Or not drive like a moron. Am I teaching my daughter the physics of a car? Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm teaching I was with my son when we were drifting up the, whatever that, just spinning the wheels all the way up the hill. No burning out whatsoever in the van. But But with my daughter, we took her driving in the snow. When it was snowing in the June Lake parking lot, I had her turn the wheel really hard to feel what the car feels like when it slides. She's like, ah! Why do that on the parking lot? So she knows what it feels like when the car's losing traction. Kids in California don't really know what the car's like losing traction until you're getting onto the freeway. It's not a good time to learn what the car feels like when it's hydroplaning. But, it's fun. My wife and her little pickup truck spun out when we were dating, going onto the Chase on-ramp, at the bottom, and hit, dip, spin, woo, down the side of the bank. Oops, by that hotel. Poor little truck. Anyway, but if that happens with my daughter, if the car starts sliding, she knows to let off the gas and gently feather it till you're going the right direction. Because that's what you do. Do you jam on the brakes? No. Do you just completely take off the gas? Overcorrect, ladies and gentlemen. No, you have to be careful. And so we taught her how to slide around a little bit until she was having fun with it. Again, knowing the physics, that's the whole point of psychophysics. If I understand the physics of the mind, how you see, sense, and perceive and see things, then I can start to understand it. Once I understand it, I can learn to control it. Okay? So, how do the physiological psychologists understand the brain? Yeah, I like parts. Pieces parts. An old TV commercial for what's inside of a chicken nugget. Chicken parts. What parts? Pieces parts. Okay, so what are the parts of the brain? Oh, we haven't done that yet. Never mind. Moving on. Behavioral School of Psychology. What do they study? Behavior. Behavioral School of Psychology studies behavior, not rocket science. We study behavior. It's really easy to study behavior, except it's very tedious and boring to study behavior. We'll talk a lot about that later in the semester because we'll spend a whole day talking about Behavioral School of Psychology. Cognitive psychology. I'm going to write it in why am I writing it in sparkly, awesome font? Cognitive psychology studies your thoughts. Why is it magical? Can't be measured. It's not real. Your thoughts don't exist. Yes, they do. I'm thinking right now. Prove it. Well, I have to say something. Behavior exists. Speaking exists. That's why we study language a lot. A lot of psychology studies, a lot of therapy is talking with people. Talking is language, is your way of your thoughts blurbing out of your head. We'll talk about a disorder called schizophrenia. A lot of schizophrenics produce what's called a word salad. Their language comes out in very strange structures. Sometimes their words aren't even intelligible because they're mixing up syllables in the wrong places. That's how their mind is working. We'll talk about that later in the semester. So your thoughts are a way of understanding your behavior. Your thoughts are probably the best way to understand behavior. But why is it magical? Can't directly be measured. We measure your thoughts by doing an experiment that we're going to doing on you, well, using you as subject. We're not doing experiments on you. Yes, we are. Okay, but the experiment that you're going to take is we're measuring your thoughts. We ask you to fill out a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel about this? 1 to 10. That's not really measuring how you're thinking. It's measuring clicking behavior. But what changes your angle of where you put your hand? Your mind. We assume that your perspective changes where you put your finger on the scale. Lots of assumptions there. Could be your mom. Baggage. Mom, quit it. Sorry. Unconscious mind. Right before my father-in-law's birthday, stepdad's birthday is February 3rd. At the beginning of February, my mom always sends out a host of Valentine's cards so that I remember to send him a birthday card. So we get the Valentine's cards right at the end of January. Because What does he like the most? He loves getting cards in the mail. He's an old sap. He's turned 80 this year, so I sent him 2 40-year-old cards. Oh, bummer, you're turning 40. Oh, bummer, you're turning 40. And I said, again. Anyway, but he loves those super sappy, sentimental Hallmark cards that make you all cry and stuff. He loves that crap. So I sent him 2 40-year-old cards with their super sappy sentiments in them because I thought it was funny. And he loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I sent him out before my mom reminded me. Anyway, but the idea of the unconscious mind is that if you have anxiety towards your mother, what happens when you're old and trying to have a relationship? The relationship gets haunted by your mom or your dad. People with daddy issues. Moving on. So Freud believed that this unconscious mind really was what caused your behavior. How much does your unconscious mind cause your behavior? Can't really be measured. Now we're getting better at measuring this kind of stuff, but we don't know. And then the other one I'm going to write in the shiny gold for an important reason. What is that? Thank you. What is your self? Me? Thanks. No. Get him. No. Do you have a self? There are 2 people in here have self. Nice. The rest of you? Convincing robots. What is self? Okay, your morals. How do you know you have morals? Because you're not peeing on the rug. No. So the self is a problem. Everybody knows they have one because you know you have one. Anybody have a dissociative event? You go under general anesthetic and all of a sudden you're looking at yourself on the table? That's called a dissociative event. Something really, really bad happens. You're standing there going, this isn't real. Dissociative event. Awesome. Sometimes they cause post-traumatic stress disorder, so you shouldn't laugh about them too much. However, when you have this dissociated event, like sometimes if you hurt yourself really badly, I crashed my mountain bike and cut my arm up really bad, and like I needed stitches, I look at it, I'm like, oh wow, that's not real, it doesn't hurt at all. I was able to ride back to the car before I started bleeding. Is it kind of that dissociation good? You're playing football, crack, that wasn't good. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of times your brain protects itself. It's just going to say, you know what? Just forget this for a while. just put that on hold. Let's deal with things right now, and we'll dig that up later in life when you all of a sudden have to start having flashbacks. But literally, that's what your self is. Your self is that personal internal reflection. It's your own perspective about your own self. Science? No science whatsoever, because you define yourself. And yourself is defined by people around you. Crap. It's really a pain in the butt. Okay, so what are the things on this side? Thank you. Somebody just said it. They're applied, that's terrible. Okay, they're applied psychology. Appleness? What's appleness have to do with it? Okay, I'll write that smaller enough. Not quite as fuzzy as a font. Just as bad. Okay, what does applied mean? Come on, the more people talk, the easier this gets. How we use psychology. Yeah. So that would be the applied aspect of humanistic psychology. We call that social psych. So social psychology studies how you interact with other people. So we use the brain. There are parts of your brain called mirror neurons. Social psychology looks at the activation of mirror neurons. In the video, they looked at the right temporal parietal junction. She is a physiological psychologist. She's looking at the brain for these social behaviors. See how that works? So social psychology is just, the humanistic psychology is just the focus of self. Just the focus of who you think you are. But does that affect clinical psychology? What is clinical? Research. Not medical. Medical would be physiological clinical. Clinical psychology is where you're working to help people. That's where you work. That's where you do therapy. A psychiatrist is a physiological psych person. They study the brain, and the psychiatrist throws pills at you. Because how do they see your problem? Medically. A psychologist, well, do you need medicine? Yeah, one of the jokes that the guys at the ski area have for me, because I ski with this one giant ski pole, and they said, yeah, that's how I used to ski in the 1800s. He goes, yeah, when you used to die from a cold. My son has croup. He has asthma. And so whenever he gets sick, it goes right into his lungs. In the 1800s, he would have died as a child. So our medicine's good. Yeah. Don't say all medicines are bad, because medicines are good. Vaccines, yeah, some people don't like them, but anybody know what's happening in Oregon right now? Huge measles outbreak. Mumps or measles, I forget. Measles. And so far, a couple kids have died. We used to not have measles because vaccinations. Okay, so, but again, we could talk about that in a few minutes as well. But clinical psychology is all about the act of controlling behavior. That's where most people work in clinical psych. In most psych degrees, if you go on and get a psych degree, most programs are focused on clinical. Most programs are focused on clinical. The rest of these are all research fields. Research. And even though most people work in clinical, a lot of us work in research. I tend to work in developmental, so I look at developmental and physiological and behavioral. I'm really interested in emotions, so that's a combination of cognitive, psychodynamic, and the study of personality. That's what we study a lot. I also am a big person of psychophysics. I really like trying to measure the core elements of your brain. We just ordered, did I send the order in? We either ordered or going to send the order in this morning for new electrodes for my brain scanner. So we won't have them just falling out on people when they're trying to do the brain thing next week. Hopefully they come in soon. Okay. So the purpose of the applied psychology, well, that's what we do. That's what this whole class is. So the rest of the semester, we're going to be taking different parts of the application, and we're going to show you how we apply this to the rest of to your experience. So before we do that, we have to go through each school of psychology to learn about it before we can apply it. That's kind of a window to where we're going in this class. So which ones are structuralist? Which school is our structuralist? Who did Wilhelm Wundt? Who would he like? Wundt does not like cognitive. Reaction. So which one of these is reaction time? And if Wundt had an fMRI, he would be all over it. Yeah, he would say the physiological approach, the structuralist approach is the physiological approach. Wilhelm Wundt would be a behavioral neuroscientist. He was trying to study the structure of the brain. University of California, San Diego, UCSD has a department of behavioral neuroscience. They are studying the structure of behavior in the brain. They also have a cognitive science, which is the study of the thoughts and the brain. Cool stuff. So which one's functional? These two are structural. These three are functional. Cognitive, psychodynamic, and humanistic are all functions of the mind. Does my little white fluffy dog have baggage? No. Does she have a self? I think cats have a more sense of a self than dogs do. That's why cats are more irritated. I really love cats. I'm always allergic to them, so I pretend to hate them. But I really respect them as little creatures. Does a cat really plan ahead? Who's better at catching birds, humans or cats? Why? They see better than we do. They're faster than we are. They jump faster. They jump higher. They've got little grippy things on their feet that grab things. Trust me, I know. One of my favorite things to do is grab a cat by the head and go, kitty, kitty, kitty. And what do you get when you go, kitty, 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 like that? Whoosh. And then the rabbit kicks on your forearm. And then the cat goes away and then looks back at you and goes, ooh, challenge accepted, and comes back for a second. My daughter's math tutor has a cat, and it's a very cute kitten. So I sit down next to it, and it looks at me and goes, squints at me, ears go back. I smile at it. It kind of blink. Does it know what I'm about to do? Yes. It's looking at me like, if you lived here, I'd pee on your stuff. Kitty, kitty, kitty. If you're an old Bugs Bunny fan, I will love him and breathe him and call him George. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Now, okay. And my neighbor's cat just loves it though. It'll come up to me, so I grab its head and pat it. Cats are awesome. Okay, they have senses of self. However, my little fluffy dog, no. How does she live? It's exactly, she lives in the now. She pays attention to what's going on now. Every time she goes to the groomer, she's happy to go. Then realizes, oh no, I'm getting my hair cut. Every time. Good dog. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is the main point. In psychology, we have to use things that are scientific. Wilhelm Wundt said that we have to measure things that are real. So what is the study of science? What is science? Okay, so you'll see the word empirical a lot. Science needs to be empirical. Okay, the Gestalt is a problem with science. Because the science is empirical. The Gestalt is the whole thing. So if I use the word Gestalt up here, where do I find Gestalt? Well, do you think the clinical looks at the Gestalt? Yeah, the clinical's not, if you have a good therapist or a good psychiatrist, they're not just going to give you drugs and send you on your way. What they're going to do is they're going to talk to you about your home life. Because you think your home life affects your behavior? Yes. They're going to talk to you about your past. That affects your behavior. They're going to talk about the way you think about things. That affects your behavior. They have to pay attention to the Gestalt, which is the whole picture. And that's why the Gestalt is a problem with psych, and that's what this guy, gentleman, Max Wertheimer, said. You can't study the mind. You have to study the whole person. The whole Gestalt is what's important, not the individual chunks of the mind. So I thank you for bringing that up. Because the Gestalt is really the truth. You can look at each, like I just bought a new axle for my minivan. Not fun at all. But if you looked at the axle, can you really tell what it does or what it's for? You can't even tell what kind of car it's for until you see it in the car. Then you realize what all the parts do. Because as a chunk of metal, it really doesn't do much. But once you see it in its whole Gestalt, you understand why it's important. So you need to understand the Gestalt before you can understand the part that I bought. It's really kind of fun buying car parts, though, because the guy's like talking to you like you know how to fix cars. My friend Rick's going to install it for me. I'd install it, but when you spill transmission fluid all over your driveway, your wife gets pissed. In Vermont, you just do it off the side of the house and you're fine, but here, no. Okay. And then you try to fill the transmission fluid and spill it all over the engine, so when you start the engine, it starts smoking everywhere? Not in our house. We live in the city. Yeah, the middle of nowhere is easy to fix your cars. Don't worry about the environment. Just let it roll. Now, so it'll be fine for them. Solution to pollution is dilution. Now, close it down. Kid. Dolphins dying every place. Okay, so science is empirical. You need to empiricize things, which takes all the magic out of psychology. You need to empiricize things. Empiricizing things is just basic. What does empirical mean? Keep saying it. Numbers. Numbers. We have to take all these things and put them into numbers. Why does science need numbers? Okay, so I'm going to put this up here. So, can someone define strong? What else? Wait, what else? What does strong mean? Okay, turn to your partner, person next to you, pair share, everybody. Sorry, works better in third grade. Turn to the people next to you and define strong to the person sitting next to you. Go! You all can talk. Hi, I knew it. Okay. Odor. All right, what do we got? Oh, now you all get quiet. You were talking a minute ago. Come on. What do you got? So he said, he's right up here, they said, someone can have a strong personality. I said smell. I think I forgot deodorant on one on. Okay, so physical strength. Strength. Get English. Okay, what else? Capability? Ooh, that's a really good one. Keep going. What else? We heard more people talking. Well, so what you have to do, in order for us to study something, you have to what's called define it. And in psychology, we define it by a behavior. It's called a operational definition. So in psychology, we have to define something by a measurement. The fun thing is what you just did is we defined the idea, the concept of strong. Concepts are things that exist in cognitive psychology. In science, we need to empiricize things. We need to change. Okay, so coffee, strong coffee. Sorry, I got Starbucks radar. If anybody has some. Okay, so I have Irish breakfast tea in here today. If I drink this entire thing of Irish breakfast tea, what happens to my stomach? It hurts like hell. Because there's no caffeine in this compared to what I normally drink. Pinky up kind of stuff. No, it's strong. It's very bitter. And because it's strong and very bitter, it'll make my stomach hurt because it's so strong. So that concept, I can explain what the strong coffee or strong tea sounds like. Do you unpack that concept in your head and understand what I'm thinking? But if I just say, well, that's strong, without any context or perspective or mind attached to it, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. So what you have to do is you have to define something in psychology by its measurement. So how do you measure a strong personality? Assholicness. No. Assholosity? No. But again, define it by its measurement. So you can say the way that they speak, but that's still qualitative, not quantitative. Okay. Ooh, a scale. We love scales. Why do we love scales? We can define strength by if you answer 10 on this personality test, you have a strong personality, because I just made a measurement. That's not a very good measurement, though, because what if you lie? Oh. What if you just like clicking 10? There are people who fill out surveys that just always go to the extremes. They never choose the middles. They go to the extreme. Other people or sit in the middle because they don't want to be judged by anything. Whatever. We're judging you already. Don't worry about it. Now, so yeah, people just, I want to be in the middle. That's why actually we use 5 and 7 point scales. There's no middle. Well, yeah, but we make it so that we don't do 0 to 10, you'll notice. Bastards. Because it makes you choose which side of the two to go on. Okay? So, again, operational definitions. You need to define something by a measurement. So let's stick with something that's real. Physical strength. How do you know if someone's strong? I'm going to write this in a different color here and write this up here. How come I said physical is the only thing that's real up here? Because it's more people, behavior. In psychology, the only thing we can measure is behavior. The only thing we can measure is behavior. So because we have to, whenever we're defining something, we have to define a behavior by its measurement. That's really important in this class. And so I'll keep doing this. I'll say, what behavior are you measuring? If you want to train your dog, what do you have to do? Define the behavior you want to train the dog. You can't just yell, be a good dog. What does that mean? That other dog doesn't know what a good dog means. When we got our little fluffy dog, we adopted her, and she was never an inside dog her entire life. She's about 3 years old when we got her, never been an inside dog. So where did she pee? Wherever she wanted to, because as an outside dog, can the dog pee anywhere it wants to? Pretty much. So it goes somewhere, it smells like pee, and it pees on the place that smells like pee. And so we got rid of all the rugs in our house because she peed on, and my daughter had a rug at the foot of her bed, and we didn't know for about a day or two that, hey, that smells like pee. So my dog would go get up, stretch. We're sitting in the living room. She's a wonderful little dog. Walk into my daughter's room, drop a load, walk back, sit down. Hi, how you doing? Thanks. Why'd you go in there? She looked at us. Why not? So you get mad at her. Oh, a bad dog. And because she was abused at some point in her childhood, what did she do when you yelled at her? Peed. So then she peed on the living room rug, which now smelled like pee. So where would she start peeing? On the living room rug, because, oh, it smells like pee here, I'll pee here. And she's a little weird dog. She lifts her leg when she pees, because whatever. Okay. So it's a super simple thing, because how do we know that she's not potty trained? There's pee all over her freaking house. 6 months later, though, we finally can put rugs back in the house. Unless it's raining, and she doesn't have a raincoat. She's like, I'm not going outside. She'll sit, and we have a rug by the back door. She'll walk over to the back door, look outside, raining, pee on the rug by the door. She's a little spoiled. Anyway, that rug is washable, though. Anyway, moving on. So what's a behavioral definition of strong? We could watch some people be strong. So we can make observations. So what does strength mean as far as physical strength? Okay, so the NFL does a couple different strength tests to compare all of their athletes. One of them is the squat challenge. The other one is the bench press challenge. The squat challenge, they give them 315 pounds, and they see how many reps they can do. The other one is the bench press. You put 225 on the bench, how many reps you can do in X period of time. Okay, that's like the standard NFL strength test. There's a couple other things, how fast they can run 40 meters. There's a bunch of other little tests that they do. So if you make actual observation, sensation, and perception, you see somebody do something strong, and you say, using language, wow, they're strong. Is that a good measure? Is that a good observation? So you see somebody running a marathon. Wow, that person's awesome. Why is it too big? What's wrong with you saying something or just seeing something? It's good. It's real because you saw it. Okay, so whenever you see something, should you believe it? I don't believe it. I just saw it with my own 2 eyes. Okay. But if anybody ever go watch a magician, like one of the fancy magicians? Endurance, yeah. So how do you know someone is really good endurance? Well, that's an empirical definition, but when you say that person has good endurance because you watch them, a lot of the guys that I ride with think I am in good shape until I ride with a bunch of people who are in good shape, and then I'm not in good shape whatsoever. Because when the guys that I ride with aren't in very good shape. So they say me and say, wow, you're in really good shape. I ride with some of my other friends who actually ride professionally, and they're like, come on, whiner. And I'm tongue dragging my front tire trying to keep up. Yeah, not good. I've got asthma. I've got a condition. I'm out of shape. And so it's all biased based on the sensation and perception. Language is biased. If somebody tells you something, what are you getting from them? Their point of view, their perspective, their mind. Okay? Reasoning and emotions, those are biased as well. If you feel like something, wow, I feel that person's super strong. Is that good? This feels like a good idea. Reasoning uses logic. How do you know logic works? It does. How do you know something's logical? This is great. No, because a lot of stuff that's been done before, when you look back at it, goes, that wasn't logical at all. No, so you see, this is the problem. We live in these top 4 worlds. We live in our emotions. We live in our sensation perceptions. We logically think things through. But are they biased? What is logic bias based on? What's reason bias based on? Okay, we talk about you said morals right off the bat earlier. Your moral beliefs think that somebody's behavior is good or bad. So if I want to make you stronger, what could I give you? I keep getting ads for this in my email. Testosterone supplements. Only one of those old guys in Palm Springs. Anybody see those guys? They're awesome. They're like 70-year-old, totally yoked. Dyed hair. Okay, sorry. Now, I'm waiting. Okay, so it's only 20 years. Oh, it sucks. It was funny years ago, and it's not so funny anymore. Okay, so the idea that if I want to get you stronger, I give you testosterone. Ladies get stronger using testosterone and more masculine. And guys get more masculine and stronger by taking testosterone. So is it logical to say that testosterone makes you stronger? Right, because you've seen evidence of that. Why on earth would a professional cyclist use testosterone? Testosterone doesn't make you stronger. If you have you sit on the couch and give you lots of testosterone, you'll probably have a heart condition and a swollen prostate, even if you're a lady. Weird. Anyway, moving on. But you grow stuff if you take testosterone as a female. But second part is that are you going to become stronger and buff and fat laying on the couch taking testosterone? You will yell at the TV more. You'll probably die of heart disease if you lie on the couch and take testosterone. So what's the real connection between testosterone and being stronger? That doesn't affect your morals. Making the choice to take it might be a moral issue, but... So the reason why athletes take testosterone is so you recover faster. So if I go do a super heavy squat workout, I'm doing squats tomorrow, so I'll be waddling next week. A super heavy squat workout tomorrow, then if I take testosterone after my workout, I get up the next morning and I'm not sore and my muscles have fully recovered. So could I do 2 really heavy squat workouts back to back? Yeah, so if you work out really hard, guess what happens? Your muscles get stronger. Sorry to tell you that. Okay, so, but what happens if you just try to go hammer every single day without testosterone? You end up fatiguing yourself and getting hurt. But Floyd Landis rode a 6-hour bike race one day and died at the end of the race, lost a bunch of time. Took testosterone that night. The next morning was as if he hadn't raced 6 days of the Tour de France already, and took off and beat the entire field by 3 or 4 minutes, and subsequently tested positive, was kicked out of the race. But whatever. But so Floyd Landis was able to go from the bottom of the barrel to way better than everybody else with just 1 dose of testosterone to recover that night. So the idea of the recovery is that you can logically start to look at things that seem to make sense, but if you don't know the whole story, does the logic work? No, so it comes back to perspective again. The way that we make observations uses our mind. And we have these things called faith and intuition. Do you have faith in things? Hope so. You should have faith. It makes our brains work better to believe in something that you can't see or feel or touch. The reason is because if you had to deal just with the world as you see it right now, you would probably go slightly nuts. Because the world is chaos. There's just noise everywhere. But if you have faith and intuition, you're thinking ahead. But again, is your faith and intuition biased? Yes, it's biased based on everything from above. The only thing that you have to be able to do, especially in psychology, is you have to be empirical. It's called empiricism. Which totally takes the fun out of the class. Test, measure, test, measure. Yay! No? No yays? No science people in here? Science, woohoo, raise the roof, yay! Oh. Okay, because you have to test things and you have to measure things. So we'll skip the strength here for a second. Let's go to this theory of mind. In the video, little dude is watching a pirate puppet show. Okay? And the pirate puts his cheese sandwich down somewhere. Walks away. Wind blows cheese sandwich onto floor. Pirate walks back. Or new pirate walks in, puts cheese sandwich on where the old pirate did. Second pirate walks away. First pirate comes back. Whose sandwich is on the floor? His. But does the first pirate know that his sandwich is on the floor? No, because where did he put his sandwich? On the chest. If the child has a mind, the child would say, I see the situation. I can explain what's happening. If the child has awareness of mind, he can look at the perspective of the other pirate. So I want to show you two little videos of my wonderful little son and see if he has a mind. Not this morning, because he's got a bad cough. Wait for it. Okay, this is the first one, which I love this video. He likes watching it too now.
Okay, Caleb. You ready? You like those keys, huh? Look. Here they are. Look.
Okay, so this is my boy 8 months old. We also did this with my daughter, but that video was in a cassette tape at some place in our house, and it's encoded somewhere, but there's lots of naked babies dancing, and I can't put that on the internet for obvious reasons. Moving on. The kids would run around the house going naked, naked, naked all the time, and it was funny, so we recorded it, but now I'll be on some supplement list any minute. Anyway, but as a parent, it's the funniest thing ever. And when she turned 16, okay. So, my son likes my car keys. That was my old Mini Cooper key, actually, he's holding right now. His favorite thing to do was find it and set off the alarm. Click, button makes noise. Anyway, so, Dad doesn't get mad. Okay, Dad thinks it's funny as well. Neighbor across the street gets cranky, whatever. Okay, so, baby likes keys. Does baby remember keys? Yeah, how do we know that he has a now and has a past? Because he cries when I take the keys away. He likes the keys. Here we go.
Okay, ready?
Okay, Dad, I got this. I can do this, Dad. I put them under the blanket and...
Where are the keys?
So we see a change in his behavior in response to a change in the environment. So he is unhappy that he doesn't have the keys. He likes the keys. He remembers the keys. Because he's looking at the blanket going, I want the keys. What's missing? They're under the blanket, dumbass, but he's 8 months old. He doesn't have a part of his brain that thinks, next. He has now, he has then, but what doesn't he have? What to do next. So babies at this age react extremely well, but they don't pre-react. At 9 months old, what do? They look at you like you're a moron and go, but at 8 months old,
look.
There they are.
Okay, one more try.
Is he physically able to move the blanket?
Ready?
Yes.
Here are the keys.
I got this, Dad. I got this. Oh. I wonder if he thinks his foot's gone.
I don't think you have object permanence yet.
So it's called object permanence because what the child has, so we can study the behavior of the child, aka Caleb, and we can study the behavior of Caleb, and we can look at where is he? Where is his consciousness? Now, the problem with a 9-month-old, and dads should know this. Moms generally don't do this nearly as bad as dads do. You put the 8-month-old on the rug with a toy or two and you walk away, you come back, the kid's still on the rug. 9-month-old. MIA. Dad walks in, puts the kid on the floor, walks away, gets distracted by something, walks back. Where's the baby? and you listen. That at 9 months old, they start wandering around. And as soon as they start wandering around, they learn how to crawl. Why do they start to crawl? To look for things. They understand that the world exists if they do something else. It's really cool. We always have the 2 drawers that we had locked in our house were the knife drawer and the towel drawer. The rest of the drawers and the cleaning supplies were up high so the kids couldn't get to them. But why let the kid explore through the drawers? To learn about their environment. There's nothing better for a baby than to explore things. You put a bunch of junk in a cardboard box and put it on the floor in front of a 9-month-old. They tip it over, they crawl inside, they throw stuff out, they look through things. Paper bags with like beans in them, like pinto beans. They'll take it apart and they'll play with the pinto beans and eat a few of them, but they're fine. They'll have gas. But it's just lots of little things. They're called affordances. A lot of little kids really like a giant tub with birdseed in it. You ever done this? They're not little kids because they just eat it and then they get all clogged up. But the birdseed has all sorts of very cool textures to it. So they run their hands through it and it slides through their hands. All that does is gives them more and more sensation and stimulation. It grows mind. Anybody know the best thing to grow mind? Other minds. So, a only child has a hard time grasping other minds. A second child learns about other minds faster. A third child learns even faster. We have friends that are Mormon. They have a little tier of children. They have 6 or 7 children at this point in their lives. And each one is about 1.5 years from the other one. The youngest one is so freaking smart. By the time this kid was 7 months old, she totally had object permanence. She could flip the blanket over, no problem. Because she has other minds to watch as she was growing older. She's got lots of different developmental stages to pay attention to. She pays attention to the other kids. She understands that her perspective is affected by other people's perspective. You learn that very quickly as a sibling. My son can make my daughter so mad so fast because he understands her perspective and he can just... Watching her blow up at him at the dinner table is just so entertaining. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to show you a video of my son doing the cheese experiment. Okay? Not of blankets, it's this one.
No, I'm not taking a picture, buddy. Don't just stare at the camera. Okay. No, look, I have a question for you. In my pocket, what is in this box?
Plans?
You think so? Okay. I want you to open it and look inside.
Okay, so what you do, this is what we call the false belief test. It's the same test that they do with the cheese sandwich. It's a little bit different. I get a box of crayons. Okay? So I'm going to ask him some questions. What do you think? Oh, here it is. Do you think? Did you think? Sorry. And what will someone else think? So these are the 3 questions. I'm defining his behavior by his answer. What does he think is in the box? Crayons. It's a box of crayons. Not a hard concept for him to go. What's in the box? Crayons. Okay, I speak 3-year-old. Okay, so now I'm going to let him open the box. Sorry.
Stare at the camera. Okay. No, look, I have a question for you.
He's
in my
close to
pocket, what is in this box?
Plans?
You think so? Okay. I want you to open it and look inside. What's in the box?
Popsicle sticks.
Popsicle sticks. Okay. So Caleb, what did you think was in the box?
Crayons.
Right.
You see his mouth?
Okay. No, look, I have a question
Sorry.
for you. What's in the box?
Popsicle sticks.
Popsicle sticks. Okay.
Watch his
So
mouth.
Caleb, what did you think was in the box?
Crayons.
See him go. He had to consciously think for a second. What do you know now? What did you know then? So this is actually the first test of mind. A lot of 3-year-olds, if you ask them, will say, what's in the box? And he goes, crayons. What? And then there's popsicle sticks in there. What did you think? I thought there were popsicle sticks in there. This is why 2-year-olds are really a pain in the butt. They're wonderful little creatures. However, they form opinions. And once they know something, that's how they've always thought. Because what they know now is how they always have known. Kid comes in with an untied shoe. Let me tie your shoe. The kid goes, no, me do it. Oh. As soon as they think that they can tie their shoe, what do they know? That they can tie their shoe. They try to tie their shoe, they fail miserably, and they get frustrated because they know they can. And something's blocking their ability to do it. You know, it's like trying to unlock your phone, and it doesn't unlock. Your hands are wet or something, and the phone's ringing. That's one thing I hate about the little Google button on the back of my phone. My hands are wet at all. I try to unlock my phone to do something, and I can't. Then I have to swipe, and then it's like smeary all over the. And the OK Google. Yeah. No, then I'd have to switch to an iPhone. Okay. And someone would peel my face off and steal my face and have it. Anyway. Or steal my fingers. One of the two. Okay. So anyway, but going back. So most kids would automatically, at 3, go, I thought there were popsicle sticks in there. And so if I have him ask my wife, what do you think is in the box? What do you think he'll say? If I show you a box of crayons, what do you think would be in a box of crayons? Crayons. But from his perspective, he knows there's popsicle sticks in there. What he knows is how he sees the world. He doesn't understand that other people see the world differently than him. He doesn't understand that other minds have different perspectives. So watch his mind get blown.
Right. Now, if Mommy were to see this box, what would she think is in there?
Popsicle.
I'm so
Do you think
smart.
she would think there's popsicle sticks in there? Why don't you bring it over to Mommy and ask her? See if she can ask her what's in the
Watch his
box.
mind get blown.
What's in that box? Crayons.
Oh,
What? Caleb, is she right?
hold on! What just happened in the world? Because this is why I think 3 and 4-year-olds are significantly more difficult. You don't actually understand other people's perspectives until 5 or 6. A lot of young boys don't understand other people's perspectives until 5, 6, or 7. Little girls understand it a little bit sooner. Little girls' brains grow faster than little boys' brains. The little girls are better at social because their brains grow faster. If you understand someone else's perspective, do you think you relate to other people better? Sadly, the higher testosterone male you are, the less you think from other people's perspective. Ew. Sorry. Okay, so now, last little bit. This is the problem with studying children.
Well, what do you mean she's not right?
I said crayons and she said crayons.
Right. Show her what's in there.
Popsicle sticks?
Yeah, I told ya!
Okay, now, Caleb, last chance. You're going to show Ella the box.
Oh, what's in this box?
Wait, Ella, don't say anything. What do you think Ella is going to answer?
Oh, what?
Caleb, what do you think Ella is going to answer?
I think she's gonna say, the dinosaurs.
Oh, really? Ella, what's inside the box?
Dinosaurs. So how long does her mind last? Yeah, snap. Okay, so next class, you are going to be designing an experiment. Okay, so I'm not going to send you anything home, but I am going to send you a research, a survey to fill out. Okay, a survey to fill out. And we're going to talk about that survey in class on Thursday. I'm going to remember to send that out. Yes, it's going to be an announcement through Canvas, so it'll come out through that. Yeah. There might be 2. Should be 2. Oops, and we're still recording. Love that.